Each year in Sweden there's a title given to a few traditional musicians playing traditional Swedish folk music, and it's called Riksspelman. Riksspelman. It's not so easy to translate it, but some people would translate it to national folk musician or national traditional musician. I'm not sure if it's the same thing as Pandit, but yeah, a bit like that. So this is a version of a very traditional Swedish flute. It's called Härjedalspipa, and it's an instrument that was used on the countryside in the northern parts of Sweden, middle northern parts, and it was during quite a long time it was forgotten. So it wasn't really used for quite a few years, and then 25 years ago, around 1990, there was a project going on looking for old music and culture in the northwestern parts of Sweden, and they found a few old flutes like this. And they also found recordings that were made in the 1930s and 40s, interviews with an old man playing this type of flute. So there were a few musicians who made a record in 1990 with focus just on this Härjedalspipa. So, you say, it looks a bit like a recorder, but it doesn't have a hole for the thumb. So normally it has 6 holes like this. But this one also had added a 7th hole to get the note below this one. It increases the options to play some different tunes. And if you listen carefully, at least for a Swedish ear, there's one note here that could sound a little bit out of tune, but it's supposed to be like that. It's the traditional way. So you see the 3rd tone here. It's a little bit in between, and that's a traditional tonality in the Swedish music. Because you could play it like this. But instead it's... In Sweden there is only one person who is making these flutes, this type of flute. His name is Gunnar Stenmark, and he lives in Jämtland. the region in the northwest of Sweden, close to Norway. And he makes them in different versions, like in different keys. So the one I played is basically A, and he also and it's in a minor key. And he also makes some in major keys, like this one. This is I think you could say it's an invention of his, and it's called Åspipa, from the village of Ås, where he lives. This one is in G, and actually this is made of apple tree. He also experiments with different kinds of wood. And I like this apple tree flute, it has a very soft tone. The first time I came to India was in 1994, and then I've been coming back a couple of times, so I believe this is the 10th trip to India. I like the climate, the people, the food, the music. I actually started playing the recorder when I was 8, I believe. But at that time I wasn't that much into it. So I played for a while, and then I played the trumpet until I was 18. And I switched from the trumpet to the saxophone, and then I picked up the flute again. Well, I enjoy playing different kinds of music. Apart from the Swedish folk music, I play the saxophone in a 9-piece ska band called the Scandalites. And I also play improvisations with a musician named Olli Strömberg, who plays the guitar, the accordion and keyboards. But I also have some international collaborations. One of them is with the South Indian flute player, Dr. P. Padmesh in Trivandrum, who's the disciple of Dr. N. Ramani. And we have known each other for almost 15 years now, and are doing some collaborations, a little bit of fusion between Swedish traditional music and South Indian Carnatic classical music. My dad is a journalist, so he's good at writing, and my mom, she's always been doing a lot of weaving and knitting and things like that. And then perhaps the greatest inspiration is my uncle. He's a musician, so we play music together also, and he's also a painter. it's not really the instrument that is the most important. It's the music in itself.